Alright guys, so I hope you're doing fine as always. Today I'm making another video about a Bitcoin analysis. This is a bit of a follow-up to the previous video about Bitcoin and the M2. In today's video we will look at the M2 again, but we will also look at the Wyckoff Reaccumulation framework, our setup, and at our vector candles as always. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. So right here, what you can see on the screen is a framework of a Wyckoff Reaccumulation setup framework, however you want to call it. If I put on the theory here on the screen as well, what do we see? We make a move up psi, we have our BC, we make the move down to an AR, an ST. From there we make a move lower than the AR, to then continue up to make a UT phase B, which we can see happened right there. From there we make a zigzag scenario down with lower highs and lower lows, so zigzag down with lower highs, lower lows. We call this the creek, so we have the creek right there. From there we go into phase C, where we have a spring, so an aggressive reaction back up. We have a retest. The retest is a bit lower here than normally, but okay, you can't have 100% following the theory. We have an LPS. What's the most important thing here is to jump across the creek. You can see we make this jump from the support lines to the resistance lines. I see I forgot a line right here. So a jump across the creek, you can see right here we jump across the creek back into these resistance lines. We make an SOS, an LPS right here. It's a little bit of an accumulation zone right here. You can see a zigzag pattern. And according to the theory, we should continue the move up from there as we finish the Wyckoff reaccumulation pattern. So maybe a word about this Wyckoff reaccumulation. Reaccumulation usually shows up or occurs during a longer term uptrend, with the goal to continue this uptrend later on. So what's happening inside this Wyckoff framework, or reaccumulation framework, is buyers are closing their whole or parts of their long positions and sellers are joining the market. With all these incoming sell positions, market makers can now fill new long positions again. So it's pretty much like the word says, a reaccumulation zone. So people are reaccumulating, market makers are getting liquidity to open new long positions or to fill new long positions better. So like the word says, it's a reaccumulation zone. With the incoming sellers, there is enough liquidity for market makers to fill new long positions again. So this is a potential scenario which is playing out here on the daily on Bitcoin. You can see we followed the theory pretty nicely. So this gives us a confluence that we still have a potential to make the move up to the 120k zone, 130, 140, maybe 150k zone here for Bitcoin. Alright, so now here we have our M2 chart again. This yellow line is our M2 global liquidity chart. The normal chart is still our Bitcoin pricing. Remember last video we did on M2, we spoke of the bullish or the bearish case scenario where we sweep this 100k level, which now we did. We tapped in the 89k zone and bounced from there again. Still following this M2 drop, and like we can see, there is the possibility to have another impulsive leg up right now, at least if Bitcoin stays back to the M2. But it has been for so long. Okay, there can be a little delay of front running. Like I said last time, it's usually between the 60 to 90 days offset-ish. So take it with a grain of salt, it will never follow one-on-one, but the general framework is usually pretty well pegged to each other. So looking at the M2, we can see it made a new all-time high. It's still going up, so if Bitcoin stays back to the M2, we can still expect a nice move up for Bitcoin to this 120, 130, 140, and even 150k is now projected through the M2 to I think 150k is realistic. So and so, it's very possible, but to be more realistic, I'm personally taking profits at 120k on my swing trade. 130 and 40 is also still viable. I think 130 is a good zone to go to. 150 might be a bit of a stretch, but we never know. We can't know what the future brings. We have to wait and see, but always pay yourself, so don't forget to take profits. So now both Wyckoff Reaccumulation framework is playing out and we're following the M2 still. So both of them are two very bullish confluences. Keep in mind, it's still a macro-driven market, anything can happen. A big news event can drag prices down for a bit, but this is a general overview. No one knows what the future brings, always trade with proper risk management and caution. These are just confluences, not hard truths, so don't follow them blindly. Always do your own research. But for me, these are two very big confluences on why I'm still bullish on Bitcoin and why I still think we will see the move up from Bitcoin. So now that we did look at our Wyckoff reaccumulation and our M2, it's time to look at our vector candles. So what's standing out here is definitely this big green vector candle right here, which occurred in the dump or the move down from this zone sweeping which we discussed in the last video of Bitcoin analysis compared to the M2, which was a bearish case scenario that we did go and recover this vector candle and sweep this liquidity. We can see we did recover this vector candle pretty much perfectly. In the aggressive bounce up, we did leave behind this green vector candle, so keep in mind for a bearish case scenario, there is still the possibility that we come back into this vector zone to then continue to move up from there. Or even break down, who knows. No one can tell the future, but generally speaking, I'm still quite bullish. Maybe they want to sweep the liquidity again and fully recover the vector candle. It's possible, but the big major zone in the first bearish case scenario definitely is now the 101k zone to 104,500. Big zone I'm watching personally is the 103. Somewhat in the middle of this vector candle, filling the fair value gap here as well. Strong zone to watch. It's definitely the zone that I will be watching in the bearish case scenario to see if we can have a price reaction from there to then take a trade in a long to potentially go up to the new all-time highs. Like I said, the Wyckoff, the M2 is looking quite bullish. So I'm definitely looking for long positions. I'm still really bullish on Bitcoin. I don't think we will break down all the way again like people are shouting on Twitter, on YouTube, that the bull market is over, that we are in the bear market, that we're going all the way back down to 70k. I don't think this is the case. I do think for a bearish scenario we have to keep in mind this zone right here. But the general sense is still quite bullish for me. But like I said, no one can tell the future. Always do your own research. We use this as confluence. We looked at Wyckoff Reaccumulation, which is a very big framework or schematic. We have been pegged to the M2 for so long with Bitcoin, so why would this time be different? Why would we unpeg now? I mean, it's always possible, but why now instead of a long time ago? Just a bad news event can always cause a crash down, but the general sense and sentiment is still quite bullish for me. The order book currently is quite neutral, but I do expect them to pick it up to the top side again. But we'll have to wait and see. But this is the scenario I'm looking at for Bitcoin. The zones I'm watching, 103k, and definitely looking for more long positions to continue the wave up to a new all-time high. Like I said, I'm taking big partial profits on 120k zone on my swing trade on Bitcoin. Probably will go in brackets of 5k up from there. I do think 130k to 140 is still quite realistic. 150 might be a bit of a stretch. I'm expecting them to cut rates as well anytime soon. We can't keep postponing it forever, so the big bill from Trump is now also approved and will be signed. We'll be printing money again, so let's see what happens. But again, general sense for me is quite bullish. There's also this trend line which got somewhat broken, so the lower highs finally got broken, but I don't really trade the trend lines neither. I do look at my vector candles. I did look at the M2 and the Wyckoff, and that's all for me for a Bitcoin analysis right now. And the order book, of course. So if I missed something, if you see something else, if you agree or disagree, feel free to let me know in the comments or in the Discord server. As always, if there are any more questions, please also feel free to post them in the comments or on the Discord server. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Take care. See ya. Bye bye.